The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Chapter 7. The Journey to the Great Oz. They camped that night beneath a large tree in the forest, as no houses were nearby. The Tin Woodman chopped a large pile of wood with his axe. At the same time, Dorothy built a bright fire. The fire warmed her and made her feel less lonely. She and Toto finished the last of their bread, and Dorothy was unsure what they would eat for breakfast the next day.
The basket is empty now.
If you like, I'll go into the forest to hunt a deer for you, offered the Lion. Please don't. The Tin Woodman pleaded. If you kill a poor deer, I will surely cry, and then my jaws will rust again. The Scarecrow discovered a tree full of nuts and filled Dorothy's basket. He made sure she wouldn't be hungry for quite a while. She appreciated this thoughtful act. However, he kept his distance from the flames. He only approached to cover Dorothy with dry leaves as she lay down to sleep. The leaves kept her snug and warm, allowing her to sleep soundly until dawn. At daybreak, the girl washed her face in a gently running brook, and shortly afterward they set off together toward the Emerald City.
Let's go to the Emerald City.
It turned out to be an eventful day for the travelers. Barely an hour into their walk, they came upon a wide ditch. It crossed the road and split the forest to either side, as far as their eyes could see. The ditch was very wide. Its sides were so steep that none of them could climb down. For a moment, it seemed their journey might be over. "What shall we do?" Dorothy asked, her voice full of despair. "I haven't the faintest idea," said the Tin Woodman, while the Lion shook his shaggy mane and stared ahead, deep in thought. The Scarecrow said, "We certainly can't fly, and we can't climb down into this great ditch either. So if we can't jump across it, we'll have to stop where we are." "I think I could jump over it," said the Cowardly Lion, after carefully measuring the distance in his mind. "Then we're all set," the Scarecrow said. "You can take us across on your back, one at a time." "All right, I'll give it a try," said the Lion. "Who will go first?" "I will," the Scarecrow said. If you fail to clear the gulf, Dorothy could be killed, and the Tin Woodman might be badly dented on the rocks below. "But if I'm on your back, it won't matter as much, because the fall wouldn't hurt me at all. I'm terribly afraid of falling," said the Cowardly Lion. "But I suppose there's nothing for it but to try. Climb onto my back, and we'll make the attempt." The Scarecrow climbed onto the Lion's back, and the great beast padded to the brink of the gulf and crouched. "Why not take a running jump?" the Scarecrow asked. "Because that isn't how we lions do it," he replied. Then, with a powerful spring, he sailed through the air and touched down safely on the far side. They were all delighted by how easily he managed it, and once the Scarecrow had climbed off his back, the Lion leaped across the ditch again.
"I think I could jump over it."
Dorothy chose to go next, so she scooped Toto into her arms, climbed onto the Lion's back, and gripped his mane with one hand. In the very next instant, it seemed as if she were flying, and before she had time to think, she was already safely on the far side. The Lion returned a third time with the Tin Woodman. After that, they all sat for a few minutes to let the great beast recover, since his long leaps had left him short of breath. The forest on this side was dense and looked dark and gloomy, Once the lion had rested, they set off along the yellow brick road. Before long, they heard strange noises from deep in the trees, and the lion whispered that the Kalidas lived in this part of the country. "What are the Kalidas?" the girl asked. "They're monstrous beasts," the lion replied, "with bodies like bears and heads like tigers, and claws so long and sharp they could tear me in two as easily as I could kill Toto. I'm terribly afraid of the Kalidas." "I'm not surprised," Dorothy replied. "They must be dreadful beasts." The lion was about to answer when they suddenly reached another gulf across the road, so broad and deep that he knew at once he couldn't leap it. They sat down to decide what to do, and after some serious thought, the Scarecrow said, "There's a large tree right by the ditch," he said. "If the Tin Woodman can fell it so it drops to the far side, we'll be able to cross without trouble." "That's a first-rate idea," said the lion. "One might almost think you had brains in your head instead of straw." The Tin Woodman set to work at once, and his axe was so sharp that the trunk was soon nearly cut through. Then the lion set his powerful forelegs against the trunk and pushed with all his strength. Slowly, the great tree tipped and crashed across the ditch. Its upper branches came to rest on the far side. They had only just begun to cross the queer bridge when a sharp growl made them look up. To their horror, they saw two massive beasts racing toward them. The bodies were like bears, and the heads were like tigers. "They're the Kalidas," said the Cowardly Lion, beginning to tremble. "Quick!" cried the Scarecrow. "Let's get across."
"Quick! Let's cross!"
Dorothy went first, cradling Toto. The Tin Woodman followed, and the Scarecrow came after him. Though he was clearly afraid, the lion turned to face the Kalidas. He loosed a roar so loud and terrible that Dorothy screamed. The Scarecrow fell backward. Even the fierce beasts halted and stared at him in surprise. The Kalidas noticed they were larger than the lion. They also remembered there were two of them and only one of him. So they charged again. The lion crossed over the tree and turned to watch their next move. Without pausing, the fierce beasts started across the trunk as well. Then the lion said to Dorothy, "We're lost. They'll surely tear us to pieces with those sharp claws," he said. "But stay close behind me, and I'll fight them for as long as I'm alive." "Wait a minute," called the Scarecrow. He had been considering the best course of action. He told the Tin Woodman to chop away the end of the trunk on their side of the ditch. The Tin Woodman set to work at once. When the two Kalidas were almost across, the tree crashed into the gulf, taking the snarling brutes with it. Both were dashed to pieces on the sharp rocks below. "Well," said the Cowardly Lion, drawing a long breath of relief, "it looks like we'll live a little longer, and I'm glad of it. Being not alive must be very uncomfortable. Those creatures frighten me so badly, my heart is still pounding." "Ah," the Tin Woodman said sadly, "I only wish I had a heart to pound." The adventure left the travelers more eager than ever to get out of the forest. That afternoon, they suddenly came upon a broad river rushing swiftly just ahead of them. On the far side of the water, they could see the road of yellow brick winding through a beautiful country. green meadows dotted with bright flowers, and trees lining the road, heavy with delicious fruit. They were greatly pleased to see such a delightful land before them. "How shall we cross the river?" Dorothy asked. "It is easily done," the Scarecrow replied. "The Tin Woodman should build us a raft so we can float across to the other side." The Tin Woodman took up his axe and began chopping small trees to build a raft. While he worked, the Scarecrow found a tree on the riverbank heavy with fine fruit. This pleased Dorothy. She had eaten nothing but nuts all day, and she made a hearty meal of the ripe fruit. Building a raft takes time, even for someone as industrious and tireless as the Tin Woodman, and the work was still unfinished when night fell. So they found a cozy spot beneath the trees and slept soundly until morning. Dorothy dreamed of the Emerald City and of the good Wizard Oz, who would soon send her back to her own home.